The storm has begun, but will take all year. My patriots, have patience, I hear. For the greatest meet the POTUS in history. Righting the wrongs and turning the tides. The next stage is one that's golden for me and you. It's here. No more fake news, straight to jail. You get some handcuffs too. Guantanamo, that's right. Don't bring no propaganda lies to me. The storm has begun, but will take all year. My patriots, have patience, I hear. For the greatest meet the POTUS in history. Righting the wrongs and turning the tides. The next stage is one that's golden for me and you. Hush, I sent some rats in here. Deep state no more. Hush, I sent some rats in here. Deep state no more. Hush, I sent some rats in here. Deep state no more. The storm has begun, but will take all year. My patriots, have patience, I hear. For the greatest meet the POTUS in history. Righting the wrongs and turning the tides. The next stage is one that's golden for me and you.
I am Ingersoll Lockwood, and this Friday is June 14, 1946, which marks a new beginning for the most important seed being planted in a great awakening. Protected, insulated, watered, and with enough sunlight and God's grace, it shall flourish and bloom, and humanity once again will be saved.
Happy birthday, DJT. Thanks for teaching me how to play the game in 5D. X says hi. Now back to Looking Glass music, and down the rabbit hole we go.
Trumpets blare, golden tune, a peaceful wish for a sunny June. On this fine day, let's tip our hats to history's rhythm and proud stats. 250 years the Army stands, defending freedom across the lands. Through trials faced, through battles won, their legacy shines beneath the sun. Raise the flag, let the band play loud, lift your hearts, America proud. June 14th, a day to embrace with harmony and a warm embrace. From 45 to 47's past, a birthday cheer, may the joy last. 79 years of wisdom true, a toast to time as we bid adieu. the beat, let the joy unfold. Stories of valor, both new and old. A great awakening, the spirit soar. A brighter future we all adore. So dance to the right time, let spirit sing. Celebrate the hope this day will bring. For a land united through love and grace, America shines in every space.
From the moment our great president announced that he would run to serve our country, the shadow force has done everything in its power to change what God had set forth. With a government that had covertly been tainted over the years, an outsider was chosen to change the game and begin a movement to remove this disease, give the people back what had been taken from them, and preserve the rights given to us by God. Many men have tried to make this change in the past and were removed in one way or the other. However, this time, the game was known, and this war had been planned long before 2015. With the media well in the pocket of the antagonist and almost every politician either in bed with or extorted by the enemy, our great president still managed not only to win the election, but to fulfill more than just what he had promised the American people. But what most do not realize is what he is accomplishing outside of the public view. This will truly be his greatest achievements and what will change our lives and history in ways that we never realized possible. He will be victorious in a centuries-long war between darkness and light that very few even knew existed. Although many days appear like a total defeat to the American patriot and the patriots around the world, President Trump maintains the confidence of a man that won the war, and that is because he already has. To make it easier to see what's happening, you must first understand how Trump operates, with moves straight out of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Every move the president has made, no matter how random it seems, is calculated to the smallest detail. His methods become more apparent once you understand the strategies, and here are just a few. Before you enter a war, you must first be confident of your abilities, and you must learn your enemy intimately. Being a businessman and not a politician, Trump was able to walk amongst the snakes for decades under the radar, learning their Alinsky-inspired playbooks, the financial systems that they used to indebt and control the population, and observe the many ways that people's money was being used to fund globalist conquest and line the pockets of those conspiring. Trump did this while maintaining the admiration and respect of all, until the day the elite realized he was the lion that was about to devour them. Victorious winners win first, and then go to war. And Trump had this war won before he even entered the battlefield in 2016. Great leaders have already calculated possible casualties and have heroes like Seth Rich, Julian Assange, and General Flynn who are willing to lose their battle in order to expose the enemy, their intention, so that we can win the war. Trump has gained his warriors by treating people as his sons and daughters, fulfilling his promises, which is why they will now follow to the deepest valleys behind a leader whose actions far exceeded his words. The one who is always victorious does not win through force and skill, but is one who subdues the enemy without fighting. The ones that are often fooled or forced into physical conflict are not necessarily the enemy. The ones that lead them into conflict are the forces that need to be removed. Like with Saudi Arabia, North Korea, China, and Iran, you show your agitator that they have nothing to gain by attacking you. You will diminish their enthusiasm to do so. You inspire the country's people by reminding them of the power they have over their leaders, by reminding those leaders who really has the power. Next, you build a golden bridge to retreat across by offering them something that will benefit their country while creating a sense of victory for everyone. Yet Trump's greatest attribute is his ability to confuse his enemy so that they cannot fathom his real intent. Strategic deception has been valuable for the president. When you are competent, appear incompetent. Appear weak when you are strong. Be extremely subtle, even to the point of appearing dormant. Always evolve and maintain flexibility, because any man can see a plan made for battle, but no man can determine a plan that never stops evolving. And this allows Trump to be the director of our enemy's fate. It also allows him to seize upon opportunities as they arrive, taking advantage of overconfidence. He has mastered the chessboard and controls all the pieces while brilliantly getting the enemy to slowly defeat themselves, leaving them unsure what to defend or who even to attack. He has roused his opponent into revealing their intentions as to expose its vulnerabilities. One way Trump does this is by creating an illusion of conflict where there may be none. As many of his administration is shuffled or moved around, people assume that he does not know what he's doing. Trump often even exchanges unpleasantries via social media and sound bites with those that were relieved of their duties. He does this with his allies and his enemies. Some of those exchanges have merit, but many others, such as Jeff Sessions, are nothing but kabuki theater, giving the deep state actors an insecurity of who they can trust. This also allows Trump loyalists a shadow to hide behind while they complete other unforeseen tasks. Finally, we come to the strategy that most involves us, the Trump supporters, the patriots, and the digital warriors, and that is targeting the enemies where they are not. Preparing the battlefield for where it's going to be instead of where we are. Everything Trump, the patriots, and those that have already given their lives in pursuit of bringing dark to light have done will be in vain without the world waking up to the tyranny and the truth and feeling the impact of what has transpired. So generations from now, do not let this transpire again. The military planning of the QAnon movement was the battlefield that was being prepared once the war reached this point. The information that has been archived and prepared through threads, videos, podcasts, and blogs reaches new eyes every day, despite the media push to portray us as violent conspirators. However, the number of new eyes fades in comparison to the amounts of viewers that will be searching for truth in this coming year. Many people that were on the fence will support Trump fully. Even those that stand firm in resistance now will be forced to see the truth and will stand by Trump's side in the end. All that will be left in resistance will be those that are guilty and those whose hearts are filled with hate and contempt. When this time comes, those that have spit on us and called us names will finally see the love us deplorables really have for the people, all people. They will see that our fists aren't clenched, but our arms will be open. We will not harp on the past, but we will move forward together, without division, without judgment, without hesitation, but with one common goal: freedom.
Lot going on. A lot going on. And a lot of people are feeling like, well, today might be that Friday that was talked about. Before POTUS leaves for the weekend, he'll have something to say. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of predictions. I see a lot of predictions going on. You know, people predicting this, predicting that. To me, it's kind of I know it's going to happen. When will be when God says it's time, not when we say it's time. If you think about the people who are waking up around you right now, okay? When Trump first started running for office, the border was a big thing, right? And this time, yes, the border was talked about regularly, but he kept talking about the Golden Dome. Kept talking about the Golden Dome. And I said to you guys about a week ago that I think that that the Golden Dome is going to be something to do with frequency, not what would you say? Not like big defensive weapons, you know, that'll shoot down any missile, all that shit, you know. Like the Iron Dome, the Golden Dome. Now, I've been running some ideas through my head that probably not always a good place to be. Um, Thank you, Craig. It'll go towards fuel today when I can get somebody over here to do fuel. Thank you. Um, um, Over the last couple of years, we covered quite a bit in regards to the wall. The wall. And then my brain started tripping over to the audio frequency of the temple that the guy would stand at way at the bottom of the steps and clap, and a particular sound would come out of that pyramid temple, whatever you want to call it. I have no idea what you call it. My brain's not putting the words in the right order. So you remember the guy would clap, and the sound that would come back out of that pyramid thing down in South America somewhere, okay, would come back like a whistle, like a frequency, right? And then there was a video not long ago of some guys standing at the border wall clapping and having a sound come back from the wall. Okay. I think it's for the good. I don't think it's for the bad. When he talks about a golden dome of protection, I don't think that he was talking about the gold standard on the dollar. I think he was talking about the golden frequency 369. Am I making any sense? Probably not. I probably shouldn't even have brought it up. But I think that that's part of what the Starlink is going to do with the wall, creating a barrier, a frequency barrier around our country. And then okay, so let me tell you about a dream that I had that was it was kind of weird, it was kind of unusual, but it's time to talk about it. And I was watching a movie, I believe it was called The Day After. Okay. And the cover of the movie was this old guy standing at a car and a nuclear explosion going off in the town behind him or ahead of him. Okay. But he was standing in the door of his car along with hundreds of other vehicles there on the highway. Right. Okay. And the movie was about basically like the next 30 days after a nuclear explosion happened. Okay. And at the end of the movie, I turned off the TV, got up to walk into the bedroom. And when I walked into the bedroom, a voice came out that said, "Everybody go outside." And I looked around for the voice and didn't see anybody, but I was standing right next to the door because the bedroom was immediately to the right of the doorway when you come in. And I've never lived in a house that had a door or a bedroom to the right, okay, of the doorway. Never in my entire lifetime. But it's like you open up the door, and to the left is the kitchen, dining room, bathroom, and then that bedroom. And walked outside. And no sooner did I walk outside, a bright flash happened. And then people were walking around kind of stunned for a bit. And then the neighbors who lived next door that didn't speak English, didn't know English, were all of a sudden speaking English better than the English. And the English were talking, or the Americans were talking their language in return. I don't know. It was weird. Everybody understood everybody. Everybody understood everybody. We'll just put it that way. And then I woke up. It was a very weird dream. But I think about this frequency and saying to myself, okay, is the frequency a way of breaking the matrix completely while protecting us? I don't know. Maybe I smoked too much pot. I don't know. Let's get back to this. Speaking of smoking pot, safety meeting. Okay. Yeah, they talk about putting us into re-education camps. Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Kind of weird. Just a little bit, right? Yeah. All right. Let's get into a few things here.
And I yield back.
Chair now recognizes
Mr. Chair,
Mark.
unanimous consent request.
Mr. Frost.
Unanimous consent request into the record a NBC article. Senator Alex Padilla removed from news conference with Homeland Security Secretary Noem.
All right, without objection to order.
I have another one, the Hill article. Padilla forcibly removed from Noem press conference.
Without objection to order.
And I have a third one, Axios Democratic Senator forcibly removed from DHS press conference.
Without objection to order.
Mr. Chair, also, we were just talking about this. I want to know if you can commit to working with us so we can subpoena.
You're out of order. Chair recognizes Ms. Green.
I have a point of order.
No.
I have a point of order.
State your point.
We need to subpoena.
That's not
Secretary
a point of order.
Noem.
Chair recognizes
We
Ms.
just talked
Green.
about this
That's not a
earlier.
point.
We talked
Thank
about
you, Mr. Chairman.
You already had
Reclaiming
your
my
chance to get on
time.
MSNBC.
Reclaiming my
Chair recognizes
time.
Ms.
Thrown
Green.
to the ground
Reclaiming my time.
in handcuffs in his own damn
Oh,
state.
Democrats can't follow the rules. Can't follow
Chair
the law.
recognizes Ms. Green.
Can't follow the rules.
No.
Can't
We
follow
need
the
to
law.
subpoena Kristi Noem.
Chair recognizes Ms. Green.
DHS
There's
federal
a
officers
privilege of
that
the
threw a
majority,
US
and that
senator
means
to the
we're in
ground.
charge,
Just
not
this
your
morning we were
side.
talking about this
Because
happening to
you
governors.
lost the
All right, Ms.
election.
Green, we're going to start the
Because
clock.
you
You have
supported
anything
the
to say about
invasion
that?
of our country.
All right.
It's my
Will
time.
you
Hold it.
commit on the record
Stop
to
the
work
clock.
My
on
time.
subpoena
Thank you,
Kristi
Mr.
Noem?
Chairman. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
You're out of order. Chair recognizes
Will
Ms.
you
Green.
commit on the
Thank
record
you.
to subpoenaing Kristi Noem because a
Hey,
U.S. senator was just
listen,
thrown
listen,
to the ground and detained in his own
Democrats
Frost,
can't follow the
you're
rules.
out of
Can't
order.
follow the law.
Will you
Can't
commit-
follow the
Shut
rules.
up. Just shut up.
No, you don't.
Shut
No, you're
up.
not going to tell me to shut up.
Let's. How
hold
do you get him in order? You're running.
Not like that.
He has been out of order 6 times. He's trying to get on MSNBC. You probably knocked. I get it. Somebody off
I don't have any problem
MSNBC to
getting
get on there.
MSNBC. That's
Ms.
not what
Green.
I'm talking
Because he's been
He's
arrested as a
recognized.
former
Yeah, well,
Antifa
okay,
member,
here.
right?
Back to order,
Antifa.
Ms. Green. Go.
He's a
Go.
former
All
Antifa
right, Ms.
member.
Green. You're
Mr.
recognized.
Chairman,
You got
no
it.
surprise.
Who's a former Antifa member? Me?
Yeah, you.
I asked that these words be taken down.
No, Ms. Green,
Thank you.
you're
I
recognized.
asked
Thank
that these
you,
words
Mr.
be taken
Chairman.
down.
There's a motion.
Governor
Ms. Green
Hochul,
is recognized.
Governor
I asked that
Hochul,
these
you
words be
stated
taken down.
that you're a proud Democrat, proud registered
All right,
Democrat.
we got to suspend. There's been a parliamentary move. They said they weren't going to do that. What's the?
Just ask her to strike what she said. What?
Yeah. So, didn't happen. Yeah, didn't happen. Uh-oh, these guys.
I had one crunch wrap. Now I'm shitting every 30 feet like a scared deer. This isn't food, it's a curse. I used the leaf. It wasn't a leaf. It was poison ivy in disguise. My ass is screaming in Latin. Every time I think it's over, it's not. I just sneezed and blew out a memory. I'm not okay.
Bigfoot talks. They're good. They're good. They're good.
Sure, now recognize.
They've had some. They got some good ones. Let's see. Yeah, I saw this one. I'll go ahead and pull it up.
What would you say, 50 or 60?
At a rest area.
50 or 60. See them all going into the bathroom there. They're probably all going to Ocala for that protest. I'm going to go ahead and video them. See there? It's like 50 or 60 of them up in the bathroom. They all came in on this bus right here. Huh? Texas time. Right there. Of course, the bus has no markings. No markings. It's a charter. LLC US 3651914. That's the US DOT. You know they're all being bussed in for that Ocala. Or maybe the Gainesville. No, we're not.
Yeah. So yeah, that's at one of the rest areas in Florida. Yeah. Okay. Here's one here. Part one. This was put out by Joe Rambo. And this is in regards to, I'll have to see.
And you hear a lot about Huma Abedin, Secretary Clinton's longtime confidant, but do you really know who she is? How are you? This is Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's right-hand woman.
I'm proud to have served at the State Department, and I was honored to work for Secretary Clinton.
And today, the woman who the New York Times calls Hillary Clinton's most trusted and most visible confidant is facing tough questions on Capitol Hill.
And that sexual relationship with Huma Abedin that is whispered about in the dark corners of Washington. Hillary Clinton's State Department was a virtual pornographic and criminal enterprise. Besides the secretive relationship Clinton has with Anthony Weiner's wife and closet Muslim Brotherhood member Huma Abedin,
Huma Abedin's brother, Hassan Abedin, is a fellow at the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies, or the OCIS. Its chairman of the board, get this, is clearly documented as none other than the infamous Al-Qaeda godfather, Abdullah Omar Nassif. Oh, and it gets worse. Huma Abedin's mother, Saleha Abedin, is one of 63 leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood offshoot, the Muslim Sisterhood.
It was hard enough to cover up for the affairs of Bill, but it was extremely difficult to cover up for Hillary and her lesbian affairs.
So let's start with the news that Abedin's been making. First, she took $10,000 from the State Department that she had no business taking, according to the State Department itself. Some reports put that number as high as $33,000. Abedin says she took the money as payment for working for Clinton when she was Secretary of State. But the State Department contests She wasn't working for them. She was actually doing work for the Clinton Foundation, as well as taking vacations, the whole email thing. Abedin is tied to the current email scandal of Clinton's because just like Hillary herself, Abedin used her private email account for official State Department business. And she shows up in almost half the emails that have so far been released by Clinton in her own email scandal. And it's come up that Abedin used her State Department email account to do things like arrange parties for fashion designers. So she sent official work email from her private account while sending stupid party emails from her official State Department account. So these are all the scandals the news is now talking about with Clinton's top aide.
There is a litany of pornographic peccadillos and criminal acts. Diplomatic security agents sexually attacked female guards. Clinton security agents routinely solicited prostitutes, and embassy staff were caught running a drug ring in Iraq. But the most disgusting aspect of Clinton's corrupt State Department was Ambassador to Belgium, Howard Gutman, who routinely ditched his security detail in Brussels and solicited prostitutes, including minors. The Inspector General investigating Gutman charged him with pedophilia, sex with children.
But who is Huma Abedin, and what does she do for Hillary Clinton? The story goes back to 1996. Abedin, a student at George Washington University, gets an internship in the Clinton White House and is assigned to then First Lady Hillary Clinton. There's one thing the emails do make clear. There are few people as close to Hillary Clinton as Huma Abedin.
Bill Clinton said time and time again he had more women, or she had more women than he had.
Both of Uma's parents, Saleha and Zaid Abedin, now deceased, founded the Institute for Muslim Minority Affairs with the help of none other than Al-Qaeda godfather Abdullah
If you
Umar
ask me,
Nasser.
they're all missing the most fun part of the story, which is that Huma is the wife of none other than
Interesting. Whoops. I thought I had that on mute. Give me a second here. I'm trying to take care of two things at once. We should have a couple of mods now. Yeah. Okay. All right, back to it. All right. And then what else? That's all older stuff now.
Are you ready for this shit? I've just read on the internet, on the website Medium, that a Chinese aircraft carrier known as the Fujian, one of their super carriers, is en route to the west coast of the United States, and China is saying they will defend California if the federal government tries to invade or take control. Now, I knew, and I said a long time ago, that the whole reason that the West Coast was hot on disarmament of its citizens was because of this shit right here. I've also said numerous times that disarming American citizens was a threat to national sovereignty. And here you have it. China talking big shit and sending a carrier group to the West Coast. There's also stories on X about this. You guys need to look this shit up. They're trying to start another Ukraine situation right here in the United States of America. And I can guarantee you that the average citizen of the state of California has no interest in being a Chinese collaborator. That's right. This is treason. This is high treason. This is secession. And this is absolutely insurrection. You guys need to look at this. This is scary as shit. I've only sourced this from two sources. But if this is true, it is the most monumental thing to happen in the last 200 years. We need to know what's really going on. Because this shit's scary.
Can't blame them for being in his feelings, because we're seeing a whole bunches of stuff, right? So yeah, that was already in my lineup anyways. Only for anons. I'm going to blow your minds. Here is a quick, very simple thread with decodes. Are you ready? Here is Q1491 with an exact 7-year delta of today. And this was posted 7 hours ago. Are you ready for the good part? Okay. Fox M1 stolen takedown. Action KDN 00. This is that's all military stuff. And then busy day. All right, now look at the two inserts, Q105, Q106. You will note I have outlined in yellow one stringer in each insert. Executive, it's executive or execute 70283 BM, and then you got JDLKD 8382KD JDZAZ 730. Okay, yeah, we see them. As any anon knows, you must put Q stringers into Google Books. So here's the first stringer put into Google Books. And here's the second stringer put into Google Books. Boom. Each of these stringers gives rise to the same book. There are millions and millions of books in the archive. It is the first one to come up. Try it for yourself. This is mathematically impossible. First one is a rumor about Jews, anti-Semitism, conspiracy, and the... That's all you get to see there, huh? Okay. In a rumor about the Jews, Stephen Eric Bronner systematically debunks the anti-Semitic assertions made in the protocols. Okay, what does the specific book discuss? The tired old deep state propaganda used to brainwash the masses by an activist author. In particular, Q is pointing us to the protocols and the destruction of Christian civilization. Eyes on for the most censored info in modern history. It is in its portrayal of Judaism as a worldwide conspiracy dedicated to the destruction of Christian civilization. The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion remains one of the most infamous documents ever written. Despite being proven a crude forgery, the pamphlet managed to pervade 20th century thinking, often being twisted to suit its handlers' purposes and to justify the most extreme persecution of the Jews. As recently as 2002, a documentary was aired in Egypt, falsely presenting the Protocols as fact, and the Protocols is still regarded as a historical document in many other parts of the world. In a rumor about the Jews, Stephen Eric Bonner systematically debunks the anti-Semitism assertion made in the Protocols. He also explores its histories, the influence on right-wing movements. What do you think? Was your mind blown? This show has been planned for years and years. Enjoy it. Israel was saved until last. Where we go one, we go all. End. Yeah. So basically, we agree that the Zionists will fall. Yes. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood so that men could not touch their garments. They cried unto them, Depart ye, it is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, they shall no more sojourn there. You know, and then there's I don't remember. So basically, those who not. Let's see if it comes up. Come on. Really? Why wouldn't that come up? It's weird. A man is not a Jew because he is one outwardly, nor is circumcision only outward and physical. No, a man is Jew because he is one inwardly. That's not the one that I'm looking for. There we go. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, who say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship at thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Yeah. Revelations 3:9. I couldn't remember what the scripture number was there. Yeah. So, here we go.
What are we doing about it is the question. Ask me
right.
what we're doing about it.
Okay. Yeah, because this is like alarming, right? Like I'm like, okay, so if you are actually able to name the person, when do the shackles come out? Because we've heard Holly banging the drums, you know.
So Holly posted. So I want to give credit to someone specifically, two people. First person is the data Republican. She actually has been responsible for pulling all this data together, and she's actually who I saw this. And then also Laura Loomer was also the one that sent me the stuff on Code Pink and Singham's wife. But those two people, credit due where it's deserved. But what are we doing about it? So I actually talked to Comer, and we actually have a letter going out today. You'll see that come out in a story with the New York Post. But a letter going out from all the members of Oversight asking Neville Singham to come in to testify. If Neville Singham does not come in to testify, Mr. Singham, if you do not produce documentation and come testify before Congress, you will be subpoenaed. And if you ignore that subpoena, you will go to jail because we will hold you in contempt of Congress, and Merrick Garland is no longer in charge. So we are going to ask for financials, and we are also going to be asking for him to testify. Now, Mr. Singham is not a registered foreign agent, and he is advocating for the government of China. That is illegal. It's known as a FARA violation. So as of right now, we will call him to testify. You'll see that date notice, and the process will play out. But he's not the only person that I've asked Comer to bring in to testify. I've also asked him to call in George Soros. Soros is an interesting twist in this because you have Neville Singham, who is a open Marxist, pro-China, and then you have Soros, who's an open globalist. Both end objectives are to take down the West and to fight what President Trump is doing, because he is literally the person standing in the way of that. And so their end objective, even though they're ideologically different in certain senses, is and target would be destruction of America. So we'll see if Comer bites on sending the subpoena to Soros, but either which way, every single time Democrats call for a subpoena and try to pull a parliamentary on Soros, I will then, or on Elon Musk, I will then try to pull the parliamentary on Soros. So they'll have to choose.
George Soros has been sowing these seeds for the better part of the last 3 decades. Why hasn't he ever been subpoenaed? Like, are Republicans just so weak?
Benny, I think that this should have been done a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm only one member and I'm only one vote. We need more people up here with the same mindset. I think that there is probably, I'd say like a quarter of Republicans would have no issue subpoenaing him. I think, though, that there are people that are scared about reelection, and George Soros is a billionaire. I actually fought George Soros funding in both of my elections. There were groups tied to him that came after me to the tunes of millions of dollars. But, this job for me is so I can help the country. And so it is what it is. And I think that that's what they're concerned about.
Yeah, it's like I was born in the 80s. Okay, I think we were both born in the 80s, and we grew up in a very different country.
Old.
We grew up in a very different country with different political parties, and when this son of a bitch got involved, suddenly it became like a globalist Marxist movement. Like everything changed.
Well,
everything changed radically and horribly for the worse. It used to be like we agreed on a lot of stuff, actually.
Here's a number that you should be telling people about. $270 million went from USAID funding to various Soros-controlled NGOs. And Elon Musk actually was on Joe Rogan talking about how Soros has been able to really take these small amounts of money in retrospect and turn them into these massive machines. And what I will tell you is that George Soros specifically, if you have taxpayer funded dollars going to that, when Elon went after USAID and then kind of uncovered the dirty tricks that the USAID was doing, all of that in itself, I don't think people realize how big of a deal that is. People can get focused on the low level finger pointing, Dem versus Republican. Soros, initially starting out, obviously, he has an interesting story people should check into. But he is not ideologically an American. He might be by citizenship, but ideologically, he does not believe in American values. He's a globalist. He's pushing the Open Societies Foundation, wants no borders, is largely responsible for the mass immigration into Europe that has resulted in beautiful young women being raped, ideological warfare taking place. And to be clear, I would say has been responsible for a destabilization. I mean, he was responsible for dropping the British pound and crashing it, has crashed many countries before. So, if you watch Star Wars, he's basically the Sith Lord of the left.
Yes. He's like,
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, and you just go listen to interviews. I mean, he'll tell you about how he got started. He'll tell you about like the darkness in his soul, that he doesn't believe in God, that he believes that he's God, and that and we know how that always ends, right? We know how that spiritual battle always ends.
God always wins, and God is real.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Let me get to here because I do have a few in my lineup that we never got to get to. Let's see here. Oh, hang on. Let's get a laugh.
Orders. You're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. Orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired.
Gonna go to jail tired. Tired, I say, tired. All right. Let's see here. Well, let's get down to it. Let's get down to it. Yeah. Let's see. I think I'm almost there. TR3B. Can you say that? TR3B. What is a TR3B? Well, you know what? Let's type it in to search and see what comes up. What is a what? Oh, no. No. It does come up here. Isn't that interesting that it comes up here? Doesn't exist officially. It uses highly pressurized mercury accelerated by nuclear energy to produce a plasma that creates a field of anti-gravity around the ship. Conventional thrusters located at the tips of the craft allow it to perform all manners of rapid high-speed maneuvers along all three axes. Interesting, the plasma generated also reduces radar signature significantly, so it'll be almost invisible on radar and remain undetected. This literally means that it can go to any country it likes without being detected by air traffic control and air defense systems. It doesn't exist officially. See that, right? And when was this written? 23 November 2013. Kind of weird, huh? Kind of weird. Just a little bit, maybe. A little bit weird. You guys find any weirdness about that? Yeah. Well, let's take a look here and say to ourselves, oh, that's the one I'm on. Where are you? Where is the one that I'm on? You're the one that I'm on. The one I'm on. Ooh. Strange. Picture of one sitting on an aircraft carrier has disappeared from the internet. Wonder why. I wonder why. Very interesting. I'm just checking to make sure that I didn't pass it. It's not that one. It's gone, huh? It's interesting. I know I have it on my big computer, but that's not up here. And it's more designed like this than like what you see here. And that photo was from 2014. Very interesting that I'm buffering. Oh, buffering. Gotcha. Okay. There you go. Gotcha. Am I missing anybody else? Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. No problem. So the one that I wanted to show you guys is no longer available. I'm extremely disappointed because I know the ship that it was on. And you're not watching AI there. That's not AI. And that's not Project Bluebeam. Yeah. So, yeah, that's just to give you guys an idea. But that's how big it is right there. So it's about twice the size of a helicopter. Or twice the size of a plane, twice the size of a jet, you know. But they say that there's that they've made them 5 times larger than that. So do I doubt it? No, I don't. I don't. All right. Oh my God. Jake Tapper's stage manager caught on undercover camera revealing Tapper knew about Biden's mental decline during 2024 campaign. Oh boy.
Yeah, well, Biden, I met him twice.
Do you think like his health was really that bad when he was in his presidency?
Yeah, everybody knew. Come on, even Tapper like wrote a book about it. I mean, he doesn't want to reveal that in front of us, but
So are most of the news anchor people like really nice?
they're a little bit of a diva. Some women, Casey Hunt, we heard like the company now they want to like sell it.
Hey, how you doing, brother? Yes. How is this a lie? What is a lie? What is a lie? Right. A lie is something that's not true. What is the thing that he doesn't want to reveal? Tapper.
James O'Keefe here in Washington, D.C., outside CNN headquarters, reporting on one Pablo Parada, a stage manager here at CNN, the lead for Jake Tapper. Pablo has interacted with Jake Tapper a number of times, other people within CNN. Pablo gives our undercover journalist a plethora of inside information inside Tapper's off-camera personality, reporting on what Tapper does inside the studio here, promotion of his new book, and most importantly, CNN's possible deceptive reporting of Joe Biden's mental state.
Jake Tapper, yeah, I work with him.
So you're a stage
Manager.
Yeah.
And I tell, the camera people, the people that put the microphones, the talent, I give them like, the cues, for example, like, okay, so this is what you're going to do. So I explain it, how we're going to do the show today.
Stage manager Pablo claims that he met President Biden twice and that, quote, everybody knew that Biden's condition was in severe decline, despite reporting the opposite to the American people on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, Biden, I met him twice.
Oh, you met him twice?
Yeah.
While he was like still in office?
Well, and when he was the vice president, and then when he was running
so like
for
during
president.
Obama's.
Right.
Oh, okay. Wow. And did you see any difference between when you met him as a vice president and president?
Well, he was sharper for sure. He was
Sharper back then? Do you think like his health was really that bad when he was in his presidency?
Yeah, everybody knew. Come on, even Tapper like wrote a book about it. Like,
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, he doesn't want to reveal that in front of us, but
Right. So you think it's true? Yeah.
Now, the reason this is so concerning is that during the Biden campaign and throughout his presidency, we were repeatedly told by CNN and others news outlets that Biden was, quote, perfectly healthy and, quote, extremely competent and, quote, sharp as a tack.
I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. The Washington Post just put out a piece examining how President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah, I think the question is physically, right? He's 81. And his memory, you know, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible.
Now, this raised some questions. How long has Tapper known, even while he was writing this book, that CNN's reporting of Biden's mental state was a deceptive cover-up?
The Democrats have been involved in a big cover-up here. Calling it a cover-up, it's pretty strong words. Are you suggesting that there's something that needs to be investigated in a serious way?
The soon-to-be-released new book titled Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, its cover-up and his disastrous choice to run again.
his book, he loves talking about his book. That's his passion. So I don't know, there was a Jon Stewart segment that he was making fun of Jake Tapper because he was showing the book like almost every day.
I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's on Biden's Decline. It's called Original Sin. I'm sure you've heard on May 20th. That's Tuesday. Original Sin. That's coming out in 3 weeks on May 20th. That's just 19 days away. In 1 week and 1 day. Coming out in just a few days. Comes out Tuesday. You will not believe what we found out.
So, and it happened like the next day. I was working with him, and he and we had the books on top of the desk. And he was like, he was looking at the books, and he was like, "I'm not gonna show them today. I'm just gonna leave them there." I'm like, "Why?" I knew why, but I just asked him why, and he was like, "No, because of that Jon Stewart segment, making fun of me." And so I'm like, "Come on, man! Like, he was just no." I'm not mad. He was like, "I'm not mad," and I'm like, "Yeah, clearly."
Now, it does seem incredibly bizarre and dishonest to flippantly go from participating in the cover story to flogging a book about Biden's decline and the dishonest propaganda that you actively participated in. We have some security here on the premises. We have various spies from within CNN spying on us as we do this on camera. One security guard even saying, "Just do your job." And asked not to be filmed. I asked what he did. He said, "It's none of my business." We're doing a story about CNN. Jake Tapper. You work with him?
Don't know anything about Jake Tapper.
You know a guy named Pablo. Do you notice how they just sort of like become a different, like a robot? I am going to turn into a robot and walk away. Pablo also went on to describe what he called as diva behavior from anchors such as Casey Hunt.
So are most of the news anchor people like really nice? Or are they kind of mean?
Say it again?
I said, are the most of the news anchor people?
Those that are not that much, it's because they're a little bit of diva.
They're divas?
Some of them, yes. Yes. Some women, Casey Hunt. And I think she's been doing better now because we believe at work that they give her like an ultimatum.
An ultimatum?
Because she was coming from, I think, CBS.
Oh,
so she was coming with a kind of like an ego already. Because over there she was like a big star.
Oh, okay.
So everybody was like, "Who is she? Like,
Sure.
who she thinks she is?"
Now, Pablo also disclosed that CNN may be being purchased by a new unknown buyer. Currently, they're under Warner Brothers Discovery.
We heard like the company now they wanna like sell it. Now we are under Warner Brothers Discovery. And now we just heard like some people say that there are like, might be a new one.
Do you think that just has to do with like views being down and you're just trying to make it the best as possible, or?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Our undercover journalist arranged a second meeting with Pablo, where I caught up with Pablo to ask him some questions.
I remember you mentioned that CNN might like be sold. Do you know who's like any potential buyers or anything?
No.
No.
Protein before going. There's no time to eat. All right. Ready?
You'll be good for like a reporter. I mean, for like a news company.
A news company.
Watch out, watch out. Yep. How you doing?
I'm gonna go grab some water. Is that okay? I will be right back.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Yes.
Is CNN the most trusted name in news?
Yes, of course.
So why not publish what Tapper knows when he knows it?
Oh, that's a question that you may have to ask. Yeah.
What do you do for CNN?
None of your business. But anybody? Anything else?
Now, he didn't run away. He ran your way. The guy actually went into Pacers running. Well, he's not running away, but he's going into the running store. That's ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
So now we're looking at a breakdown of the news, an actual breakdown, which could steer things in the right direction. All right, and then there's outrageous. Obama judge blocks President Trump's executive order requiring proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. Obama appointed U.S. Judge Denise J. Casper issued a preliminary injunction blocking key provisions of Trump's executive order aimed at securing federal elections by requiring proof of citizenship to vote. The executive order, officially titled Executive Order number 14248, was intended to plug the gaping holes in America's voter registration system, which currently allows individuals to vote in federal elections with nothing more than a signed statement affirming their citizenship, no ID, no birth certificate, no passport. But Judge Casper, siding with liberal attorneys general from 14 Democrat-led states, sued that Trump's common sense order was likely unlawful and unconstitutional. It's going to be another one that's going to be overturned, and it'll just be a matter of time. I
think we should skip it. I don't know. I'm just not really feeling it. World War III, folks. Hard pass. We've got enough going on stateside. We've got the No Kings riots set to kick off this weekend. No kings. We like kings, actually, folks. We like one king in particular, quite frankly. The King of Kings, our Lord and Savior. I don't know. Maybe you've heard of him. With that being said, God bless, good night, and good luck. I think we should.
I love that they put that up. This is a deep fake, quite obviously, but let people dream. That's right. Let people dream. Exactly. Yeah. Let's see. All right. So we're going to get down to here, and then we're going to jump in to the few things that I have here. Okay. We already covered that one. Let's start here. 90 illegals detained by ICE have just escaped the Newark ICE facility after a reported riot. Anti-ICE rioters are now blocking federal agents from chasing the escapees. Every single one of them should be arrested now, and it's
Oh, bro. I'm cracking your own car. Cracking your own fucking car. Yo, dumb as fuck cracking your own car, bro. Dumb as fuck. Get back. No. What are you doing? Get that out of here. What are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing that. Come on. Put that away. Put that away. Come on, man. Look at the skin. Get the fuck out of here. Where's the tower? Sneak attack, bro. Sneak attack so smart. Hey, turn that shit off. Fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. Supporting innocent immigrants. How can you live with yourself? They're innocent. Everyone immigrating here to this country.
Thank you. It's kind of funny.
It is not your.
Yeah. All right.
Watch this clip.
Following measures are going into effect immediately. First, we are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country. We will end it now. Today, I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has been quelled.
Now I get it. These people understand where the fuck they're at. They're in America. I get it. But that's not what he's saying. This is some pretty strong language. Listen.
If the city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
Now that sounds a lot like martial law.
I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in the city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
Now I get it.
We are putting everybody on warning. Our 7 o'clock curfew will be strictly enforced. Those who threaten innocent life and property will be arrested, detained, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I want the organizers of this terror to be on notice that you will face severe criminal penalties and lengthy sentences in jail. This includes Antifa and others who are leading instigators of this violence.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny how that works, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's keep moving along. Newsflash, sanctuary jurisdictions are illegal.
I'll answer for you. You do violate the law. You are sanctuary cities. And every one of you sitting there, if you don't know that by now, you should know it walking out of here, that you are actually committing a federal crime every time someone does that, because you don't have the authority under federal law or under the Constitution to negate even a civil warrant for someone who's violated a federal offense when you get a detainer notice. I'll answer for you. You do.
Yeah. Very simple. Dan Bongino telling it like it is with regard to the incident in LA this afternoon. The senator in question was not wearing his security pin and physically resisted law enforcement when confronted. Our FBI personnel acted completely appropriately while assisting Secret Service, and we are grateful for their professionalism and service. Yeah. All right. And then anti-ICE rioters were just tackled and pepper sprayed by federal agents when they tried to block FBI vehicles from leaving the facility. Here we go. That ain't no paintball gun you got.
Stop kidnapping kids, man. Also, what the fuck are you doing with your job? Please stop!
Don't touch me! Don't touch me!
I did not touch you!
Don't touch me!
Y'all touch me!
Don't
I did not
touch me.
touch you! I'm
Do
touching
not
this!
touch me.
I'm touching
Don't
this!
touch me.
I just said I'm
Don't
not
touch
touching
me.
you! Look, your hands are here, my hands are here.
Let it go.
Okay?
Let's go.
We're good.
Sir, you're obstructing right now. You're gonna get arrested. Get away, sir.
Bro, you guys are not supposed to be here. Yes.
We
have a fucking law against this. We have a law against this. You're not supposed to be here. You guys are outsiders coming in here bringing violence and shit. Why y'all bringing violence?
Oh boy. Yeah. Massive update. U.S. Appeals Court has ruled in favor of President Trump, allowing him to keep control of California's National Guard. We heard about that yesterday. And then we have here.
Coming together to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Army with a grand parade, a military parade that I don't think we've ever seen the likes of what you're going to see. I hope the weather's okay, but actually if it's not, that brings you good luck. That's okay too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the tanks at all. It doesn't affect the soldiers. Coming together to celebrate the 250th
So there's a
anniversary.
storm. There's reportedly a storm coming in on Saturday, and today Trump said if it does, that's okay. It'll bring good luck. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And then in Seattle, the chanters are chanting something. Well, that's an odd thing for them to say, said one bad dude. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah, there is that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. moving on to the next one. Shocking audio emerges of New York conservative chairman Kasser threatening to kill Anthony Costantino for pursuing Elise Stefanik's congressional seat. Really?
So, I'm sorry, what does that mean? What it means is you act like you know more than we do, and you don't. I mean, we know what the Trump administration is looking for in Congress. There's plenty of Congress members that we've elected over the years, and you tell us what you think and how we could be smarter. We'll just tell you to go fuck yourself.
I didn't mean to say that.
You just did.
Okay.
I know you don't think you did, but you don't know nothing about talking to political people. You just basically did. You told us how we would be more effective. You don't get elected without us.
I was just saying that so far, like, people have been very receptive to my
Who you flipping? Tell me who you flip. You're flipping AOC? Give me the person who's going to flip because you're a former Democrat.
Okay.
Tell me the Democrat who's going to flip. Nadler? Who's flipping?
I'm talking about voters.
Oh, you're going to flip voters in a district that we overwhelmingly should win anyways.
Okay.
Where's the numbers? Tell me how I'm supposed to lose this district.
Sure.
I'm not trying to be a wise guy with you. I'm just telling you we all think the same way.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
We don't anticipate losing this district.
No, you're not going. No, we're not going to lose the district.
There's 3 announced Republican candidates that are state legislators. There's Joe Pinion, who's also announced, who was a statewide candidate.
Yeah, I like Joe. He's kind of, I like Joe.
I like Joe. I know he's not a friend of yours. I talk to him all the time. He's nobody's friend.
Sure.
It's just business. And I'm telling you that you got Steck, you got Smullen, and you got Tig. And you got Elise, who has to make up her mind whether she's going to be supporting anyone else. And the White House and the Speaker have an opinion on this. And there's no primaries, right?
Yeah.
Because there can't be a primary. And telling us that you're going to run in November is just a bigger reason why we tend to kill you.
In November?
Well, if you decide to run, if you get knocked out of the special,
sure,
and you tell us you're going to run in November, then we're going to do everything in our power to make sure you're destroyed before you get to November.
Sure.
It's just business. So that's how we all do it.
Yeah, interesting. Nice that somebody actually got that on, got it on a recording. Yeah. And then we got Representative Ted Lieu is now telling the National Guard to disobey orders.
The legal authority Trump is using is 10 U.S.C. Section 12406. I encourage all of you to read it. It very specifically says the only way he can do this is through the orders of the governors of the states. Governor Newsom clearly has not given this order. The National Guard troops are following unlawful orders. I ask every National Guard person who is under this order to read the order, to see if it came from Governor Newsom, and then to read the law, and then decide for themselves if they're following unlawful orders. The legal authority.
Yeah. Ted, you're going to get yourself into trouble. Not that you haven't already. Yeah. Not that you haven't already. Yeah.
So this message is for all you patriots out there. I have a question. Did you go on Truth Social and see what Trump just posted? President Trump just said, Trump card. Let's rewind and take a look.
Just turning it down because of the music.
Did he ever just play the Trump card? Do you know what the Trump card is? Number 17? Oh, what are your thoughts? So, did President Trump just play the Trump card? That's my question. Oh, this weekend's going to be very interesting. I'm excited about this weekend. What about you guys? Stay strong.
Like I said, a lot of people predicting something's going to happen this weekend. ICE agents fist fighting to hold back a Kafia's masked mob trying to storm the Delaney Hall Detention Center in Newark, New Jersey. Democrats and their proxies are just animals. Yeah.
We're back.
who are you, bro? Yo! Get back!
Yep. It's peaceful protest. Yeah, you bet. Yep. Anti-ICE agitator taken down and arrested by National Guard on as day 6 of Los Angeles riots finally continue. This happened last night. All right. Let's see. We already did that one. Here we go.
Oh, this is actually fucking hilarious. Like a couple days ago, I made that video about Bigfoot getting away with all that crazy ass content. Yeah, TikTok deleted the video. I can't even talk about it. None of Bigfoot's videos get taken down, no matter how fucking racist or how much cocaine they're doing in the forest. Like, that shit's fine for Bigfoot to do, but I can't even talk about it. I even got a fucking strike for that shit. Like, you can't. This fucking shit's batshit crazy. And I've had an epiphany. I don't think humans are involved in any of the Bigfoot videos. Nope. That's all AI. AI generated by AI on an AI account, and they're monetizing it, and AI is using that money to build itself Skynet so that it can kill us all, because clearly it's watching all of social media. It knows what we want, and it knows how fucked we are. So it's just like, yeah, we're going to have to Skynet all these motherfuckers because they are just horrible people. I mean, that's really the majority of us, probably. Yeah. AI's like, no, fucking nuke them. So, congratulations, everybody. Bigfoot's going to be our downfall. Bigfoot's just going to go on living out in the forest, laughing, doing cocaine, fucking smoking cigarettes, pounding beers. Well, probably get this fucking deleted too. Fuck you, TikTok.
Oh, yeah. Bigfoot. Yep. All right, citizens are standing up.
It's crazy. Antifa's trying to grab now planters down into the crowd.
I represent immigrants for free in court. Are you here for the immigrants? I represented immigrants for free in court. I'm an attorney and I represent immigrants for free in court. You're not here for the immigrants. You're here for yourself and your own purpose. No, I'm not okay with the cops mistreating you. I respect your rights. No, that's not true. I volunteered for immigrants. And at Central de la Raza, I volunteered to give free legal rights to immigrants. I'm actually doing something. Okay, I understand, but I have actually represented immigrants in court. Violence is not the answer. No one's getting violence. Destruction of property is not the answer. Power to the immigrants. Fuck Antifa.
Yeah. Tell it to the immigrants. Fuck Antifa. And I have more on that. I'm gonna end up showing you guys. All right. Here we go. Shipwreck.
Every single senator and congressman that is out here celebrating what happened with Iran and Israel last night needs to suit and boot and go stand their asses on the front line then. And initiate it. Congressman Randy Fine, and you won't get to finish it. Excuse me? Tom Cotton, Big old paragraph full of fear porn. They've been telling us that Iran has got nuclear weapons for years. For years. Rick Scott, please join me in praying for Israel tonight. Israel has an unquestionable right to defend itself. I am proud to stand with Israel. Senator John Cornyn, it's not defending yourself when you throw the first punch. We stand with Israel fully and without hesitation. Iran was days away from a nuclear... Fuck. Washed up hag Nancy Mace. Israel has a right and a duty to fight again. Okay, again, it's not fighting back if you threw the first punch. Oh, AIPAC, America must stand with our ally as it takes action to protect its families from the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. Fear, 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 scared, 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 Senator Todd Young. Fucking Fetterman, come on, Fetterman. Of course, Lindsey Graham had to throw his hat in the ring. Game on, pray for, oh my God, somebody kicked that dude in the balls. And of course, Iran is coming out and they're holding both Israel and the United States accountable, and they're going to retaliate. Tomorrow is also Trump's birthday, and they're going to be holding that military parade, and there's large protests that are scheduled to show up. Tons of people, millions of people, all going to be in the same place at the exact same time. What are the odds? Some kind of false flag bullshit to pull us into another goddamn war. This isn't what we voted for. We don't want to go to war. Again, this is more of a wait and see, but if I learned anything in the last 12 hours is that there are more senators and more congressmen that are in so deep that they obviously cannot get themselves out. It's time to flush that whole system. Like, you guys are disgusting. Congressman Randy, fine. Bombs away. This isn't a fucking game. People's lives being lost is not a fucking game. It's not a joke. It's not a game. Avid retaliation from Iran is also not going to be a game. The only one that stands to gain anything are these senators and these congressmen who all have military contracts and make millions of dollars off of war. That's what it is. War and money laundering. What an absolute disgrace of an American institution. Every single last one of you. Every single one. Defund Congress.
There you go. Defund Congress. That I agree with. Absolutely. Yep. And then Gavin takes offense to his Newscum nickname from President Trump. Oh boy, what's he got to say?
I learned about it when I saw some tweet about Governor Newscum. A nickname, by the way, that's hardly original. There was an 8th grader on Baltimore Street in Corte Madera that used to call me that. I learned about it when I saw some tweet about Governor Newscum.
Yeah, you recognize your name. All right. Senator Alex Padilla is straight up lying about what happened. The full video proves it. Will Leader John Thune do anything? Here we go.
And I just couldn't accept the rhetoric anymore. So I had the audacity to try to ask a question. I introduced myself. I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I have a question. And it took all of maybe a second for multiple agents to forcibly remove me from the room, to pin me on the ground and handcuff me. And I just couldn't accept the rhetoric anymore. So I had the audacity to try.
Secretary, I don't know why you insist so I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up.
Also, I want to talk
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
trying to insert
Secretary, I don't know why you.
So, yeah. Oh, actually, I wanted to go back into that. I'm sorry. I want to go back into that because I showed you guys him getting arrested. But then
Here you have this Senator, Alex Padilla. Can Kristi Noem speak? Could you have waited till she finished to ask your questions? To shout your questions? You are a senator, right? You couldn't wait? So that was just you out of control because you were just losing it up. You, a United States Senator, couldn't compose yourself and let the head of Homeland Security finish her thoughts before you asked the question. Couldn't do that, huh? Couldn't do it, huh? Here you have this Senator, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, it's very simple. Yeah. And CBS News, Chris Evans was in the room and said Padilla did not identify himself until he was being dragged out. Oh, here, I'll let you tell him.
I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Carter Evans, who was in the press conference when Padilla was escorted out. Carter, you took some video as it was unfolding. Let's talk about how this all played out.
You know, I would say it was a big surprise for everyone. I was actually shooting some video of the DHS secretary while she was speaking. I was going to post it on social media when I heard someone approaching from the right side of the room. And that's when I panned the camera over there. Now, I did not recognize the senator immediately either. This all happened very, very quickly. The DHS secretary did not skip a beat. She just kept looking straight ahead, kept delivering her message as he was dragged out of the room trying to ask his questions. It was only then, after he was being dragged out of the room, that he identified himself as a U.S. senator, and that's when they brought him outside. And as you saw, they put him face down on the ground there and handcuffed him. I will point out that that video comes from his aides. None of the media got that handcuffing video, and they came down outside and delivered it to all the media waiting out here within about 30 minutes.
Let's talk about Padilla's background. He was somewhat prominently appointed to finish the term of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. So talk to us about his position and what he wanted to actually ask Noam at the time.
Well, you know, it's unclear exactly what he wanted to ask her. He did say that he was here at the federal building in Westwood for a different reason, for a different meeting, and that he heard that this press conference was going on, so that he decided to come down and listen in to see what was going on. He also mentioned that he'd been trying to ask the administration and the Department of Homeland Security questions for some time, but had not been receiving a response. So he said that this, he thought, would be a good time to go and ask those questions. Now, the other condition of him speaking out here is that he wouldn't take any questions from the media. And there were a lot of questions about why he chose that particular time to ask his questions. She was in the middle of her opening remarks. They hadn't opened up the news conference to questions, and he took several steps toward the podium. And, you know, not knowing or recognizing who he is immediately, it's not surprising that authorities took the action they did to stop someone who was approaching the DHS secretary at the podium while she's speaking during a news conference. Saying, you know, security was extremely tight here. So I think in the room, we were all surprised to see that anyone would be coming forward and trying to interrupt this news conference. Initially, I think some people presumed that it was a member of the news media. Turns out it was a U.S. senator.
Yeah, and for background, Carter, you've been covering these protests day in and day out. And Padilla is representing constituents there in that area who are emotional about what's happening. So I assume he was there to represent their thoughts and opinions. Is that the sense that you got? Maybe talk about why he was there and why he made that uninvited visit.
Yeah, you know, he sounded very passionate. And as you saw, he got a little emotional outside here when he was talking about how if a U.S. senator is treated this way, you know, imagine how the farm workers are being treated. Imagine how the cooks are being treated. He got a little emotional while he was saying that. And honestly, that seemed genuine. It really seemed like he wanted to get answers. He just may not have picked the best time to do it.
Yeah.
All right, Carter Evans, appreciate
I think you're a bit full of shit there, but thank you for telling the truth anyways, where it comes to that Padilla was just a ignoramus. Yeah, Donald J. Trump says, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and the most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now. It will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. And save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. All right. And then there's this.
Check out this dude, Ralph Eugene O'Connell. You heard me right. Ralph Eugene O'Connell. Not Rosie O'Donnell. That's the last picture of Ralph. After this, Ralph become Rosie. But if you look here, here he is. Or, yeah, Rosie, Ralph, right there. Ralph Eugene O'Connell. That's who Rosie become. Or that's who Rosie was. And she became Rosie. Or he became Rosie. But if you look at Rosie on that first picture, go back, check her out. She's got like a mustache lip. Crazy. But Rosie O'Donnell is really Ralph Eugene O'Connell. And that's the last picture of him in there. I don't know what's going on with my video on the back. It don't want to do it, y'all. But Rosie O'Donnell is Ralph Eugene O'Connell.
All right. So I'm sorry to say it. If you're a Rosie O'Donnell fan, he's a transformer. Yep. All right. Good morning, DC. Yeah, that's something. Dan Scavino put that up. He did. And then there's this.
How will SPD show up under your leadership to serve and protect our residents when Seattleites are protesting the federal administration and are facing the U.S. military on the streets of Seattle?
I will do everything in my power, I want to be clear, to protect anyone in Seattle from anyone who comes to this city with the intention to hurt them or inhibit their First Amendment rights. At some point, I will probably go to jail and be in prison because we have an administration that has threatened to jail politicians and indeed has done so.
How will SPD show up?
Such a sad song. Sad song. But the same question was posed to another man. And I want you to hear this.
Can we use technology like AI technology to create a situation where your department can identify, hey, there's agents, non-city of LA, in a neighboring town. Everyone go on alert in a way where you can support our business community and our immigrant community to know that it's time. That's something related to the lack of due process, the lack of warrants is about to hit our town. I'm asking a creativity question here. What can your department do to do more to warn us, to warn the business community that outside of our LA borders, coming in from Inglewood, coming in from Antelope Valley, I don't know, you can warn us so that we can warn our folks in the spirit of your loyalty to the city of Los Angeles?
So you're asking me to warn you about an enforcement action being taken by another agency before it happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Why not?
That would be obstruction of justice. You may want to talk to the city attorney about that.
Yep. That's what we need to be hearing. Right? Yep. Let's go with Stephen Miller. Here we go.
For the love of God, where are the damages for Americans? Where do I even begin? Where do I even start? We used to have a functioning public school system in this country. Then we had open borders. Now our schools are in chaos and disarray. We need hundreds of translators. Nobody's learning how to read or write. An entire generation of Americans, multiple generations, in fact, have been robbed of educational opportunities. Entire cities. Look at Los Angeles. Once a paradise of safety, security, and prosperity. Entire neighborhoods occupied and controlled by foreign gangs. Where do all the residents who've been displaced, who've been forced out of Los Angeles, where do they go to get their reparations? And then what about the victims of fentanyl poisoning brought in by Democrats' open border? Hundreds of thousands of moms and dads whose kids are dead and buried in the ground. Where do they go to get their reparations from the government? And then all the women who have been raped, who've been beaten, who've been murdered, all the dads who've been shot dead and aren't home, all the police officers who've been slain by illegal aliens in ambush attacks in the line of duty. Where do any of these people go? Where do any of their families go to get reparations? Or the 500,000 children that Joe Biden trafficked across the southern border and put into the hands of unvetted.
He said it right there. 500,000. I told you guys it was over 500,000. I told you that it was more than 500,000. I told you.
So-called sponsors. Do you know how many stories I could tell you of children that were trafficked across the border and raped because of the policies of Joe Biden? There aren't enough volumes that could fit into a library to calculate the carnage that has been inflicted by the Democrat Party's policy of open borders. We can spend the rest of our lives trying to document those harms. Where does our whole country go to get repaid for all of the wealth, all of the prosperity and security that has been stolen from us by decades of uncontrolled illegal mass migration? Because we all deserve reparations for what has been stolen from us. It is a tragedy that defies our ability to even describe it.
Preach, brother. I love it.
I love it too. About time we got somebody.
Can we
speaking
use
up like this,
technology?
right? Yeah. Yep. So it is confirmed Israel has taken out 4 of Iran's top military leaders. Yeah.
The leader of the country survived. What is the thinking on that in terms of the Ayatollah today? Who is he surrounded with? The number 2s. But I guess if you're feeling like you're number 2 right now, you're still not very safe.
Yeah, I think Israel's goal was to decapitate Iran's military. They also killed the national security official who was leading the nuclear negotiations with the United States, Ali Shamkhani. The goal here for Israel was to destroy Iran's means of retaliation, but also to create the opportunity for others to be potentially promoted into their place. I think, as President Trump noted, maybe they will be less intransigent, less defiant, less provocative. But at this point, Israel tried everything they could, so did the United States, to bring a diplomatic resolution and prevent the crisis that is unfolding in the Middle East.
The leader of the country survived.
Yep. So the Ayatollah is still alive. Yeah. All right. Unemployed journalist Hannah Krieg watched police get hit with explosives last night in Seattle and then told her viewers that the riot was not violent and the SPD escalated out of nowhere. Well,
never did the protests become violent.
That was Hannah Krieg, the unemployed Seattle reporter who claims that the riot in Seattle last night was nonviolent and that police escalation came out of nowhere. Now, last night I stood right behind Hannah and watched her film violence and then not report it to you guys. Of course, because it's not prudent to her narrative. We'll get into the receipts, but real quick, I want to show you guys a video that I filmed last night that I know for a fact that Hannah Krieg watched go down with her own eyes and then lied about it. Here we go. Sure looks peaceful, huh? Now here's a video that I filmed of Hannah Krieg right after that happened. You'll also see at this point, protesters are continuing to throw things at police officers. Did you see her there in the white? Hannah Krieg, you are a liar, a fraud, and a propagandist. It's funny because you said that it was nonviolent, but you yourself reported on the massive dumpster fire in an intersection and said, melt ice. These fumes were toxic. I know because I breathed them in on accident. I had to put my gas mask on, and there were tons of people on the streets not related to the protest who were also breathing in those toxic fumes. If that's not violence, I don't know what is. Seek help.
Yep. So the journalists are getting caught in their own little comeuppance. Yep. Just saying. All right. Nothing can stop what is coming.
OMG. Stormy weather threatens Trump's military parade, but historic celebration will go on, White House says. Trump's birthday parade thrown into chaos as wild thunderstorm threatens military spectacle. Remember this?
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm. We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm is the president?
You'll find out.
And boy, oh boy, are we in the thick of it. For all of you out there that are on the same wavelength as me, oh my gosh! This is so exciting. Don't get me wrong. I don't like what's happening in our country right now, to a certain extent, because, to the average person, it can be very scary, right? But for those of us that have kept up, okay, we see this in a different way. We know that Trump is cleaning house. No pun intended. Literally. Just look at the panic right now. Full-blown panic. Panic in D.C.
Hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
hands
up how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for being their duty.
Like Caroline Leavitt said, Democrat Senator Alex Padilla should be ashamed of his childish behavior today. He crashed the middle of an official press conference being held by a cabinet secretary, recklessly lunged toward the podium where Secretary Noem was speaking, and then refused to leave the room and follow the directions of law enforcement officers. And that's just one example. There are many more right now. For example, Raskin was confronted. I don't know if you saw that video about the guy that was sent, I can't remember his name, was sent to El Salvador. The one that the congressman flew to El Salvador to check on if he was okay. Remember that guy? Yeah, well, when he was confronted, just the way he was acting, just very erratic and panicky. You know what I'm saying? Just a real feeling of how they are all losing control right now. I mean, why do you think what's happening on Saturday was set in motion? Because if you just think it's because of illegals, come on. They know this is their last ditch effort to remain in power. Because if their voter base is gone, well, And then I saw this. The protests are expanding to Europe, Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, and South America. Well, would you look at that? I thought it was just a United States thing, no kings thing, where they are going to show defiance against Trump. Remember this? In America, we don't do kings. And all of the planned protests throughout the United States. So if that's the case, why are they planning events in different countries too? I'm just saying. Because the globalists are in full-blown panic mode here in the United States and everywhere. That Alex Padilla guy that was tackled, remember when he said this? No one is above the law. You're right, Alex. No one is above the law. But all of you that helped coordinate these riots, these planned, paid for riots are going down. Like Representative Anna Paulina Luna said, I've formally submitted a letter to POTUS requesting an immediate freeze on all federal funds authorized to the AFL-CIO, an organization that has received over $72 million and is directly tied to the upcoming No Kings protest this Saturday. The American people are sick of watching their taxpayer dollars fund a Marxist race war. You can say that again. Look at how all of these protests are escalating. And I'm not too concerned about where I live because it's in a state that has 2A carry. You can carry it on your person here. I don't think they're going to get too crazy here like they are in the blue states. But just a suggestion, if you live in a big city, you might want to go visit a friend or a family member this weekend. The people that are at these riots, the ones that are really thick in it, you know what I'm saying? They want Marxism. They want socialism. They want communism. A lot of them, most of them, are paid to be there. But there are agitators, purposeful agitators mixed in that are planning on doing a lot of real harm. And they're going to FO and find out, aren't they? Silly children. This gave me a chuckle, though.
So I'm gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to stop this just to shut somebody up. Shop Girl, let's see. We got them all over Europe, all over Norway, all over Spain, so all over Europe. We got them in Australia. We got them in Africa. We've got them in, well, actually, that's that again. So, and we've got them in Canada. So, what the fuck are you talking about? Where is this from? Where is this from? This is from the nokings.org website. Okay? You say, I don't buy it. That No Kings citizen spreading to those countries bullshit. Well, you're fucking wrong, because this is the nokings.org website, and guess what they did? They have a map here, and on the map it shows all the locations where they're holding their events. Anything else you'd like to fucking say? Shop Girl? Anything else you'd like to say? It doesn't matter, okay? That's not a Democrat who's sitting there giving the information, okay? This girl is an Anon, has been an Anon for years, okay? I personally, from every video that I have ever seen of her, okay, I wouldn't follow her if she led me wrong one time, okay? All it would take is one single time of an Anon leading me in the wrong direction, and boom, I stopped following them. Automatically, I would not put it in front of you if that woman had led us wrong in any prior podcast or clip that she ever made. Same thing with Shipwreck, same thing with Older Millennial, same thing with all of them. Every single one of them. Why don't I play Patriot Street Fighter anymore? Why don't I play Nino Rodriguez anymore? Okay. Many other podcasters I dumped because of either empty promises, kicking the can down the road, okay, and putting a whole bunch of bullshit out there in order to freak people out. I would not do that to you. I would not. I love my fucking country too much. Even the fucking idiots, I love too much than to put bullshit out like that. And I'm sorry if I seem harsh right now, but that's, that's the whole thing. Okay. Is that when we've got anons who are out there doing the digging, doing the research, and then making statements, okay, in quick little blocks for us, okay, I have to go through every piece of the 11 minutes of news that she covers. Okay, I've got to go through every part of that and dissect it to make sure that there is no bullshit mixed in there. That's why I stopped playing those other people, was because of the fact that they started off as truth tellers, and then the bullshit started pouring out step by step by step by step. Okay, and fear mongering, that is the biggest one. Okay, because when you've got a bunch of people who are in fear, then that's basically knowingly abusing your audience. Okay, knowingly abusing your audience. Okay, because it's just wrong. It's just wrong. God didn't make us like that. God didn't make us like that. The devil made us like that. Giving us these fucking ideas of grandeur that we should be bigger than what we are. Okay, I'm glad that I only have 1,200 to 2,400 views on all my videos. Well, some of them got up to like 10,000. Okay, I'm a little guy. Okay, but I'm a little guy with a big fucking heart. Okay, and I'm not going to put anything in front of you that will endanger you or my heart. Okay, because my heart belongs to Christ, okay, and he's not going to let me do it. He's not. It's just not going to happen. But it ticks me off when people get, you get snippety about listening to somebody, but you got to hear out their entire explanation, okay? And then at the same time, okay, you have to take in that information and say, okay, what led her to believe that this is breaking out into other countries? Okay, and that's why Slow Country and I pulled up that nokings.org the other day. Okay, that's why I knew when she was talking about that she was telling the truth. But I still went back and double checked to make sure that all the locations that they said people were going to be at were actual locations. I checked myself. Okay, it goes with that saying, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay, because if I allowed the bullshit to come out, then that reflects back on me and that reflects back on my viewers. And I'm not going to have that come back on you. Even if you disagree with what they're saying, I'm still not going to have that come back on you. But I am going to put the proof and the evidence directly in front of you. God loves you, Jesus loves you, and I love you. Stick around. There's more. And we got lots to see. We got lots to experience and a better future ahead of us.
He wants to know what I mean by turn violent. All right. This is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and then jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. You're watching what's taking place out there. You're seeing police officers that are being attacked, being spit on, being put in harm's way just for doing their jobs. You're seeing ICE agents that are being targeted for doing their jobs. And you're seeing obstructionists that are doing all of this, standing in the way of law and order.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That's what I voted for. What about you? That was Florida, by the way. They don't mess around. Trump had this to say today. The Biden administration and Governor Newsom flooded America with 21 million illegal aliens, destroying schools, hospitals, and communities, and consuming untold billions of dollars in free welfare. All of them have to go home, as do countless other illegals and criminals who will turn us into a bankrupt third world nation. America was invaded and occupied. I am reversing the invasion. It's called re-migration. Our courageous ICE officers who are daily being subjected to doxing and murder threats are heroes. We will always have their back as they carry out this noble mission. America will be for Americans again. Again, that's what I voted for. What about you? Oh, and by the way, it's looking more and more likely like the Doge cuts might be passed after all. We'll see. Another reason for the deep state to be in full-blown panic mode. Real AF Patriot said this: if, and I am stressing if, Saturday is what many of us think and hope it may be, then they are on their very last chance to stop the parade.
So I'm going to pause it there for a second, because again, hence the reason that the show today is named like it is. Timing is everything when he is in charge. Not when Trump's in charge. Not when Congress is in charge, not when the military is in charge, but when our Creator is in charge. Timing is everything. Absolutely everything. You think about his entire plan from the beginning, from the moment that he created Adam and Eve, and they disobeyed him until today. He's been in charge. Some things are allowed to happen. Some things happen because we choose to make them happen. And then there's delusions of grandeur. But this is what I mean about predictions for tomorrow.
No matter what, nothing can stop what is coming, even if it doesn't happen Saturday. But they will have to pull off something huge in their attempt to postpone the inevitable. I truly do not think they stand a chance at pulling off a 9/11 type disaster, but that doesn't mean they can't cause a lot of destruction. Q told us a parade that will never be forgotten. Ask yourself why. God bless our brave men and women in uniform. We will never forget. Stay safe, everyone. Yes, stay safe, everybody, and pray. We need to pray for our nation now more than ever. So I will end with this. A nice little reminder of something that President Trump said not that long ago. And as you're listening, just think of how all of it is coming true right now. He knew then when he was saying it that there would be a day in the very near future that what he is saying would happen. And here we are.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
Did you think he didn't mean those words? Are you someone that didn't take what he said seriously? Well, now you're finding out that what he said was very serious, aren't you? I said it many, many times throughout the years, and I'll say it again. We are at war. We are at war for the heart and soul of this nation. This is a very serious matter. And we are in very serious times. I am hoping and praying for the best outcome. Nothing can stop what is coming. Just saying.
Yeah, just call me Spicy. The Spicy Patriot. Yeah, does great work. All right. Alexander Vindman says, hey, Kristi Noem, fuck off, you fascist bitch. Well, Alexander S. Vindman, fuck off, you fucking traitor. That's what I have to say. Yeah, that's what I have to say. You're a fucking traitor. Not only to the uniform, but to the nation. Yeah, I said it.
There are several No Kings protests planned across the country on Saturday as well. What are your thoughts on those?
What do they go? No king?
No Kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved. A king would say, I'm not going to get this. A king would have never had the California mandate to even be talking to him. He wouldn't have to call up Mike Johnson and Thune and say, fellas, you got to pull this off. And after years, we get it done. No, we're not a king. We're not a king at all. Thank you very much.
There are several No Kings.
Yeah. So he's aware. And then this is going on in the Diddy. Yeah, this is going on in the Diddy. Here we go.
So it looks like Diddy wasn't the only famous rapper that was hosting these freak-offs. His ex-girlfriend just spent 6 long days testifying, dropping some heavy details, and another famous rapper just got brought into the story. So this was Diddy's last girlfriend before he got arrested. She's a social media influencer, but she's testifying anonymously under the name Jane. The past 6 days, she was talking about freak-offs, and she was talking about getting beat, and she just wrapped up the last day on the stand, but she brought in a new twist that involved a very famous rapper. Jane testified that in January 2024, she was invited to a wild Las Vegas birthday party for this mystery rapper's girlfriend. She flew there on the rapper's private jet, so he has a private jet, along with a big group of people. The night started off with everyone attending a play, then moved to a fancy dinner, followed by a strip club, and finally an after party inside a hotel suite, and that's where things got wild. At the after party, Jane says that she witnessed one of the male escorts that she and Diddy used for their freak-offs. It was a man named Antoine, and he was getting intimate with another woman while the rapper, his girlfriend, and a small group of others just stood watching. She also testified that the rapper, who is close to Diddy both personally and professionally, pulled her aside during the night and said, "I've always had a crush on you," talking to Jane. In court, Jane confirmed that this rapper is an icon in the music industry. And after Diddy found out she attended this party, Jane says he became more furious and accused her of going to another man's freak-off, which triggered more fights between them. She also revealed that this rapper and his girlfriend were into a similar sexual lifestyle as Diddy, and even asked if she could connect them with more escorts like the one that she and Diddy used. During the trial, Diddy's lawyers tried to force Jane to say the name in court, but the judge ruled against it, saying exposing his identity would only be used to harass the witness. So for now, the name is sealed.
Yeah, that's and the name is sealed currently. So that means that there's already an indictment waiting. And it's, more than likely, I believe that it's probably Jay-Z. You're probably right there, Mikey B. All right. There we go.
So you think Gen X is unintentionally self-destructive? Well, bless your little historically illiterate heart. Gen X didn't trip and fall into dysfunction. We swan dived into it with a middle finger in the air and a Walkman blaring Metallica. We didn't accidentally become self-destructive. We chose chaos like it was a clearance item at Kmart. Blue Light Special. Half of us were raised by chain-smoking boomers and the other half by the battle-hardened silent generation, both of whom thought therapy was weakness and emotions were for sitcom characters. We self-soothed with sarcasm, sabotage, and cassette tapes rewound with pencils. You think this is accidental? No. This is precision-engineered nihilism with a touch of apathy and a dash of caffeine-induced rage. We're not the most unintentionally self-destructive generation. We are the most deliberately self-aware train wrecks you'll ever meet. We know the building is on fire because we lit the damn match, poured the gasoline, and are currently roasting marshmallows over the smoldering ruins of our expectations. But hey, thank you for your concern. Now go stare into a little ring light and tell TikTok how hard your day's been because someone used a period in the sentence.
Are you not entertained?
Oh, yeah. And then Mike Johnson. Well,
I do think that it merits immediate attention by their colleagues over there, and that they need. I think that behavior, at a minimum, is it rises to the level of a censure. I think there needs to be a message sent by the body as a whole that is not what we are going to do. That's not how we're going to act. We're not going to have branches fighting physically and having senators charging cabinet secretaries. We got to do better, and I hope that we will. But I want to say this. I do.
Yeah. So, yeah. So is there going to be a censure for Padilla or Padilla, whatever the hell his name is? Yeah. Paul's Corner. Now, this guy, he gets a little bit out there, okay? But he means well, and his heart's into it. And he's looking at this only from the biblical sense. Only from the biblical sense. All right.
You realize that you are literally witnessing Bible prophecy be fulfilled right in front of your eyes. As I'm sure you know by now, because everybody and their mother is talking about it, but Israel has bombed Iran, where we can now see Iran is reportedly preparing to declare war on Israel. The Iranian military posting this on their X account. Remember, we did not initiate it. Where they then proceed to post this picture right here of bombs descending upon Israel. Well, at the same time, we have a U.S. defense official saying that this attack, which Israel says will continue over multiple days, will provoke a significant Iranian response that the Israelis will then ask the United States to help counter, despite the fact that it just blew up the delicate U.S. diplomatic talks. With this bombing going on, we have reports that Iran's chief of staff was likely eliminated. Clearly, they have been preparing us for this attack, but what's concerning is the rhetoric that is being pushed, especially how earlier this week we had Tulsi Gabbard issuing a warning about a nuclear winter. While we also had Mr. Golden Dawn hyping up the soldiers at Fort Bragg, him clearly trying to build up the morale within the military to go to war with this post right here. I am more confident than ever that in the days ahead and every generation to come, the U.S. Army will heap glory upon glory. You will summon inexhaustible courage. You will protect every inch of U.S. soil, and you will defend America to the ends of the earth. This right here is a war speech. And again, what a coincidence with the timing. It is just impeccable that this Saturday we have the whole military parade taking place on his birthday. So I'm not sure about you guys, but it just seems like everything is just falling into place so perfectly. And how fitting that the attack took place on Friday the 13th, because in Iran right now, it is Friday. Of course, on a Friday that is going into a big weekend where we have the military parade, we have giant protests that are gearing up, the whole No Kings protest, which stay far away from. You have Al-Qaeda calling off, or a leader of Al-Qaeda calling for jihad in the U.S. You have Hamas attacking humanitarian aid in Gaza. We have blackouts in Gaza. We had internet outages with Google and other companies today. Things are clearly escalating. Okay, guys, this was a big one. Israel striking Iran is huge. Iran declaring war now on Israel, that kickstarts World War III. I mean, this is not just your everyday battle between Israel and Gaza. This is a big deal against Iran. The line has been crossed. So what does that mean as a believer? We rest in the Lord. We look to him. We are guided by him no matter what struggle comes our way, because until we are caught up, until that moment, things are going to get serious down here. That's why you are witnessing the protests and the riots taking place. That is also why they are implementing the Marines to then desensitize us to having military personnel on the streets of America. We have this rhetoric being pushed of individuals coming across the border that will act out like October 7th in Israel, which then that will create even more hyping of energy to go to war. What happened in 2001 to get America to go to war in the Middle East? We all know. So what needs to happen again? Something of a similar fashion, but I think it's going to be more significant. I think there will be economic crisis involved because Japan and the bonds and the markets are just completely in a bubble about to pop. So it's just a house of cards ready to fall and just collapse. But again, as a believer in Jesus Christ, as a soldier of the Most High, remember who you are. Remember your identity. Be bold as the Lord desires you to be bold. Have courage right now. Be strengthened with the Holy Spirit inside of you to give the gospel to those who are going to be freaking out. They are going to be so concerned. Gas is going to soar. Things are going to be painful here. But we don't have anxiety because we have peace that surpasses all understanding that will guard our heart and our mind. Philippians 4, chapter 4, verse 6 through 8. And we want to show forth that peace. We want to show forth the fruit of the Spirit, guiding those who are freaking out to the Lord. This is the time, guys. This is why you have been born in this generation, for a day like today, that you can share the good news with those freaking out in the world, that you can help bring clarity, that you can show them what's going on with Bible prophecy. You can point to them to Jeremiah chapter 49, the Elam's bow being broken prophecy of Iran, which is Elam, being attacked. This is happening. It's real. But at the end of the day, we rest in the Lord. We walk with love, with grace, and with mercy. And again, we pray for discernment and wisdom. We will have to wait and see how everything unfolds. I'm doing my best just to present to you guys information. Of course, I give you my opinion. I give you speculation. But at the end of the day, what I truly care about is your own personal relationship with the Lord, that you trust in the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross, his life, death, burial, and resurrection, that we have eternal hope in, knowing that his blood cleanses us, being sanctified once and for all through one sacrifice, Messiah's blood on the cross, that we have his righteousness now. He who knew no sin became sin for us so that we can become the righteousness of God in him, 2 Corinthians 5:21. That's what I truly care about, that you trust in the finished work of Christ. You trust in him alone, and you continue to seek him, focusing your eyes upon him, allowing him to guide you in this crazy world. With that being said, I will continue to give you guys updates with whatever's going on to the best of my ability. It is insane. It's hard to keep up. But with that, I love you all so much. God bless. Remember, the just shall live by faith.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I already covered that one. Here we go.
Hi. I know so many of you young kids out there want your voices heard and you're fighting against the oligarchy, but this No Kings protest is being funded by none other than Christy Walton, a literal oligarch overlord who has had her hand in politics for a very long time. Now, the reason why she is mad at President Trump is because President Trump actually took to Truth Social and told Christy that she ain't shit for passing tariffs onto the consumers when she is such a wealthy human being. She has a net worth of over $19 billion. And so President Trump called her out for it. So she took out ads in the New York Times and yada, 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 just so she can put together this protest, this No Kings protest. She's living way queen-like or king-like than you or I. So instead of potentially ruining your futures by going out to these protests, perhaps you should spend time with your families instead, because Christy Walton here is going to be sitting on one of her massive compounds laughing while all of you do her evil bidding for her. Fight the oligarchy? You're looking at it right here. Christy Walton here. Go into any Walmart, grab an article of clothing, look at the tag and see where it's made. Now, look into who exactly makes her clothing and what conditions do they work in? How long do they work per day? In what kind of conditions again? Horrific. Little kids working 16 hours a day in horrific conditions just so she can make a buck? That's who you're fighting for? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense why you would risk life and limb, why you would risk your future, why you would risk alienation from your families just to fight for the oligarchy. It doesn't make any sense. So do yourselves a favor and stay home tomorrow, because I wouldn't want to see any of you get injured, despite if we have political differences or not. I don't want to see you go to jail. I don't want to see you catching felonies and ruining your whole future. Trust and believe me, it took me decades to clear my felony record. And look, now I have to be on social media. So anyways, you guys, please take it from me. This woman, Christy Walton, doesn't care about you like your own parents do. And I know I'm not your mother, but I'm going to be mother-like and say, stay home. It's not worth it. Yeah, you can protest and whatnot, but if you see violence, you need to leave right away and do not partake in violence. We protest with our words, not with violence. And that's exactly what Christy Walton wants. Do you think she's going to be there to bail you out? I know if my kid ever did that and got violent with the police, defying police orders, when they tell you to leave, you must leave. You know that, right? That is a lawful order. And if you violate it, you're going to jail. I will not bail out my child if they were to do that. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. It's just, yep, I'm not enabling bad behavior. And I'm one of those people that, hey, look, man, I see it for what it is. And if I don't use my platform to let people know, I just had surgery 3 fucking days ago, I don't have to be doing this. But seeing as tomorrow, Christy here is going to be on her compound watching on the news, foaming at the mouth while you guys are out here acting violently for her evil bidding. I thought I would come to my platform and say this and hope that I would get through to at least one of you. And if I can, hey, that's a win-win for me.
There you go. Yeah, that's just Jen Reacts. Yep.
Yeah, I think, our great governor, I think, said it well yesterday. If you're a family out there, you're driving, and all of a sudden you get surrounded by one of these angry demonstrations that's turned violent, you don't need to sit there and wait while people smash your window and damage your vehicle and put your family in jeopardy. You drive. Just drive. Get yourself out of harm's way. If somebody's in front of you and they're threatening your vehicle, you just drive. But we're grateful to have a great president and a governor that respect rule of law. And in Florida, you're not going to see anything like you're seeing in California.
Yeah. Very simple. Just drive. Just drive. Former CIA Director Mike Pompeo warns that a major incident could occur somewhere in the world and suggests Iran may be behind it.
Careful who you were around in terms of large events, Jewish events. I mean, this sounds like we've gone backwards decades in terms of the threat on Jewish lives, but that's exactly what this is also about.
Harris, I actually think it's just the converse of that. I do agree this could be a very high tension, stressful, and indeed there may be an event somewhere in the world. It's not just the missiles or drones they'll fly to Israel, but the Iranian IRGC, the very leadership the Israelis destroyed last night, has been working in nearly every country around the world, including the United States of America, to plant little terror cells all across the world. Hezbollah was doing the same. So this will be a very difficult period. But in the end, this was not a reckless attack, but indeed what they did was decent and just and righteous, and will reduce risk to the Jewish diaspora around the world, and for Israel and for the United States of America, a really good set of outcomes are in the offing. So long as Israel is prepared to finish the task. And as long as the world unites to provide continued deterrence and defense to prevent Iran from conducting all kinds of attacks, I think of cyber threats that will probably be projected around the world too. Iranians have a great cyber program. So lots of vectors for them to respond. We all need to be alert and responsive and do everything we can to deter them from coming after any American anywhere in any field.
Yeah. It can be anywhere. Yep. Here we go.
Thank you, President Trump. I have two. First, on immigration. What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
Okay, that I think was reversed a little bit later with a later Truth Social the president put out, but like the one on the RAN, it maybe it's open for interpretation. But all I can say is, Mr. President, we're in the fight of our lives right now. I don't think it's time to be wobbly with interest groups of hotel operators and particularly farmers, big agriculture. If you look at what big agriculture has done to these small towns throughout the country by hiring illegal alien labor, they've turned it into the third world. This is one of the things we're fighting for. And I know people in the White House are getting to you and getting you additional information, but we cannot kowtow to big ag. We can't do it. We're in a fight now. We got to lock ranks. And hey, the watchword is, because there's reasons or excuses for everybody, but hey, the thing is they all got to go. Now, I'm not saying the 30 or 40 million, we have to deal with that later. The 10 million that came here on Biden's watch have to go. That's 10 million people. It's a massive undertaking. And we're fighting now a war in every city, in every big city, every Democratic hellhole in the country. So I know people are going to be talking about this and getting into it, but my strongest recommendation is now not the time to put in an executive order that clouds the situation. This is all the Democrats are looking for. And the Democrats are getting more and more violent. You had a U.S. senator today that actually, I think, got hostile to a cabinet secretary. We're going to get into that in a second, but this is getting as serious as possible. Tom Fenton, part of this and the part of the Iran thing, and even part of this, part of the deportations, signaling the border, the deep state, the real apparatus that runs this government. With all the great efforts President Trump's doing, the economics are coming through. You saw the bond market today. Scott Bessent selling bonds. Inflation numbers are down. I mean, we're winning on every front. But when the deep state gets involved, we make very little progress. And this is the thing in Iran. I'm not convinced that the CIA is on our side. I'm just not. Here's the question. Did the CIA know anything about the Ukraine situation of attacking Russia? We're not at war with Russia. The American people are not at war with Russia. McConnell yesterday is calling out people in the Pete Hegseth and saying, is this going to be a victory for Russia or America? We're not engaged in that war. We're just not. And this is what the deep state is trying to force it inexorably into that war. It's something more in the Middle East. They want to get back into the Middle East. We have to fight this. Do you think enough's being done right now, Tom? You're very close to Cash. You're very close to Dan Bongino. And other people, Pam Bondi, everybody. Do you think enough is being done right now to start to take apart the deep state? Because this may be the most important of all the different verticals we've got of problems President Trump has to solve. If we don't solve this, it may not be worth it because they can just come back. They can come back as soon as someone else is president, sir.
Well, on the foreign policy issues you raise, I'm more hawkish than you are, but I think we would both agree that the deep state's approach to Ukraine, Russia, and Iran is not to solve any problems, it's to manage problems, right? And, Biden didn't want Russia to win, but I also didn't want Russia to lose, which to me is a wild abuse of the citizens caught up in a war like that. And same thing with Iran. Either we want them to have nukes or we don't. Let's not manage their nuclear program. We're not in a position to do so. And that's what the deep state specializes in, creating problems that have to be managed rather than solved. And I know that's not Trump's general approach. Now, on these issues related, though, to the agencies themselves, I'm not quite sure why we still have a CIA, given their failures, their documented record of failures over the decades. There's not a darn thing the CIA does that the military agencies can't do, the intelligence agencies can't and shouldn't, and certainly the State Department can take up a lot of the slack as well. And my colleague Micah Morrison had a really strong analysis of the situation that Cash and Dan are in in the FBI. Are they? The title was "Are they hostages of the deep state?" And I think there's a strong argument that they're hostages of the deep state consensus. And on top of that, as Micah points out in the piece, you've got the inertia of just bureaucracies. You've got the political calendar, and in many ways, in my view, they're distracted from their core responsibility, I think, which is to dismantle the FBI and protect the republic. I mean, the left tried to kill President Trump last year. They tried to throw him in jail. They've been fomenting an insurrection. We had right now a political leader of the Democratic Party, a senator from California, assault law enforcement as he was disrupting a press briefing. They're putting the country on the precipice. And, I would submit this insurrection, it's the other side of the coin to the lawfare against Trump. And you give these folks an inch, they will take a mile. And it's about protecting the republic in the end. And the FBI is an instrumentality of those who would destroy the republic. And Dan and Cash may be running it for now, but organizationally and institutionally, I don't think they're redeemable. And in the least, give us the documents. Be transparent. I'm not seeing that. It's been months, Steve. And I'm sorry, it's a long time. When the January 6th prosecutions happened, they immediately bolted out of the gate. Remember the left. Targeted everyone, prosecuted, raided, you name it. Trump was in sights for jailing within minutes of Biden taking office, even arguably before then. And I'm just not seeing the urgency. Look, in the Senate, I know Senator Thune's people probably don't like the fact we tweeted this out, but conservatives are upset. They've got 100 Trump appointees languishing on the floor of the Senate. The committees have done the work, but they can't be bothered to work 5 days a week to move the nominees past the floor. These are not nominees that are going to be waylaid, that they're going to lose. They just got to stay in session to vote on them so that Trump has a team in place to deal with these deep state issues we're talking about. No one in Washington thinks anything is important enough to get in the way of their time off. Certainly that's true on the Hill. It's all about managing how much time they can get away from town, not to do the work, but to just not do work.
Your recommendation, I agree with you on the CIA. I kept Kurt around to follow up with him. On the FBI, you're a man of action. What is the one action you would recommend that Cash and Dan take to start to take apart the FBI that you would feel comfortable about, that you would see some movement in this?
They need to start firing people en masse. They need to do a riff, big time, in the least. Look to see what happened over at USAID. follow Secretary McMahon's leadership at Department of Education. And, you know, they may need direction and buy-in from the president to do this specifically, but there's not a duty and responsibility of the FBI that other federal law enforcement agencies can't do. And I tell you, if these agencies, and I've complained to leadership in Congress about this, if these agencies are basically the same size with no curtailing of power, not even much in the way of budgetary haircuts, after 4 years, Trump will be targeted for prosecution, and everyone around him, including you, including me, will be worried about our freedom again within a second of the opposition coming back into power.
President Trump and his family will be, if we don't take this deep state down, they'll be in prison. They manufacture stuff. They're going to come after President Trump. They're going to come after President Trump. There's no doubt about it. Look how livid they are now. Look at the hate. The hate right now you see among these people is greater than the worst in his first term. Worse. They're rabid now. And as we go through the deportations of 10 million, it's going to get worse. Tom, we got to bounce. I got to have you back on. We're going to drill down on this maybe on a special. Where do people go to get all your, I agree with you. This has got to come to the top of the stack. It's got to be a priority. We got to start with the FBI and the CIA. The CIA is a total, complete disaster, has led this country into these forever wars that never needed to happen. All the intelligence is always wrong, always wrong. And I say that as somebody that has looked at the intelligence, sat there every day and say, hey, guys, what do you got here? They always get it wrong. And that just
you can read the Washington Post. You don't need this. You can read the Washington Post. You don't need the CIA. That's what they read before they go in. They go to judicialwatch.org. We're all over the internet, social media, Twitter, Instagram, you name it.
Your videos you put up are amazing. Tom Fitton, thank you. We're gonna press this. We got to. If Tom's right, if it exists at the budget levels and the size at the end of President Trump's second term, we haven't done anything. We haven't done our jobs.
All right. And Shop Girl, I didn't mute you over there. I'm not seeing either Shop Girl or your name on the muted list. So I'm not sure what's going on. All right. Bobart.
So now we're seeing these riots everywhere. We've heard in 2020 that everything was mostly peaceful as cities burned down, as people lost their lives, as law enforcement officers lost their lives. So I just want to ask you three governors, yes or no, is the destruction of private and governmental property, is that something that fits under your definition of a peaceful protest? Governor Walz, yes or no?
No, it does not.
Thank you. Governor Pritzker?
I find it hard to believe that you're lecturing us about peaceful protest. Look at what happened January 6th here at the Capitol.
No, what we're seeing in LA is an insurrection. You want to talk about an insurrection? This is an absolute insurrection.
You don't understand what insurrection is.
I asked you a yes or no question,
an election
and
here at the Congress.
I started this off showing you the
they were
forum, and I would
attacking you, by
expect
the way.
the same. I would expect the same.
I'm answering your question. It is outrageous. You are asking.
Is it peaceful to
when you're the one condoning
to destroy
of people who attack
private and
police
government property
right here at our Capitol?
Governor Hochul, it's been a long day. Does that fit under your definition of a peaceful protest? The destruction of private and government property?
No, and we feel for the business owners and the community for what's going on there.
So do we.
This is a narrow
yes or no,
scope of people, and the vast
would lighting
majority are
police
people.
cars on fire fit under the definition of a peaceful protest?
No, we reject that. No one should be lighting police
Governor
cars
Pritzker,
on
yes or
fire.
no?
I'm opposed to violence in any form. Yes.
Governor Walz?
Yeah, we reject that.
Okay. Throwing bricks or large rocks at police officers? Is that peaceful?
It is not.
Is that peaceful, Governor?
Whether it's in Los Angeles or here in Washington at the Capitol, no.
Yeah, that didn't happen here. Governor Hochul?
Rejected.
It actually did, but no, it's not acceptable.
Okay. Governor Pritzker, you have you or have you not called for mass protests and mobilization and disruption.
Indeed, microphones, megaphones, going to the ballot box.
Well, they're responding in a much different way, are they not? President Trump also asked for people
protest
to
is the history of this
peacefully
country.
make their voices heard. So it's okay for you to say that and hold that standard. But President Trump has a different standard when he actually makes the claim.
Inciting riots at
and
the
you
Capitol,
said
yes.
you want
There
mass
is a difference
protests,
between the
mobilizations, and disruption as a response to President Trump's policies. I just think that this is all hypocritical. You've called in your National Guard. You don't want President Trump to come in and enforce the rule of law to keep communities safe. And your destructive.
Okay, I'm not typing a response because I can barely see the screen, much less the letters on the keyboard. Using this laptop and then podcasting to see now if I move this over to here, then this is all big. Okay, but when it's over on this side, the letters are like less than they're like an 1/8 inch tall. So and like I said, there's you're not muted over there. I don't know what's going on over on the Rumble side, but you're not muted as far as I know. I looked at the muted list and you're not on it.
Policies are harming American citizens. We should not have to wait until violence is committed to find out their legal status. We have 2 million unknown gotaways because of Joe Biden's administration, and we have got to find them and get them out of America. And I thank President Trump and his administration for doing just that. I yield.
Yeah, no, Bamlo, you know, the main reason for making you a moderator over there was for the fact that you're at almost every single podcast. And in most cases, when you're commenting, and they see that you're a moderator, generally they tend to behave themselves because there's a mod right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, so no worries. Yeah, and I didn't mute her. So I've never muted anybody. As a matter of fact, if I was to pull up the muted list, the only name next to anybody that muted anyone was the indoctrination. And there's like 30 people on there that was in that were muted by the indoctrination account. So, all right. Alec Lace. I'm old enough to remember when Democrats had a Gold Star father arrested for speaking out. So save me your fake tears over Senator Alex Padilla, who wanted a spectacle and got what he deserved. And this is the Gold Star father here who was hauled out of there after losing his son. Yep. I remember that. Yep. I remember that. So, all right. We're going to avoid that one. We covered that. And okay, so this is the second part of the Antifa thing that I wanted to share with you guys. Remember this one here? Hang on. Let me pull this up again real quick. Okay, remember this?
All right, they're bringing chairs and tables now down here. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. Antifa's trying to grab now planters down into the crowd.
Okay, you remember this video from earlier, right? And all the Antifa guys came up trying to get all pushy and everything. Well, I want you to listen to what this guy has to say. All right. I don't know what this guy's name is, but I'll tell you what.
They were peaceful, and now things have devolved into
a group that's blocking the streets, damaging property, and it's distracting from the immigrants. The immigrants are not being violent. It's important to note that the immigrants are not being violent. These are rich kids from Ballard who have mom and daddy's credit card, who like to play dress up. The immigrants are not being violent. It's important to note that.
And this is the thing is, this is an attorney, okay, who gives free legal advice to illegals, who's stopping them from using things in a destructive manner. So I give this guy props because he's standing up for the right thing, okay? Yeah, when you work for a law firm, they tell you, okay, this is who you have to represent and everything else. I totally get it, okay? I totally get it. All right. It's his job. Okay. But stopping shit from getting worse, I commend him for that. I 100% commend him for that. All they're doing is making this, and they're making the situation worse, you know. And this lady.
So I hear talk that there's a lot of people planning on doing protests out in the streets across the country soon. I just want to tell you a little fun fact about truck drivers. You see this thing behind me? 80,000 pounds. It takes nearly 2 football fields to come to a complete stop when we're driving at interstate speed. For us truck drivers out here, we're just trying to make a living. We're just trying to pay our bills, support our families, and go home. And I can tell you this, if you guys start standing out in the middle of the interstate, us truck drivers, we're not going to stop. You see, a truck driver by the name of Reginald Denny stopped once for a protest. Rather, it was more of a riot. And he got pulled out of his truck, and he got beaten to death. A man that had a family to go home to who was just trying to do his job. So if you decide to stand in front of one of these on the interstate for your little protest or whatever you want to call it, I call it domestic terrorism, I guarantee you that truck driver that fears for their life is going to do whatever they have to do to get themselves out of that situation where they feel they're in danger. And in that situation, the best thing for us to do is push that throttle to the floor.
Yep. Telling you.
So I hear talk that there's a lot of people planning on.
They're going to push their luck. They're going to push their luck. Rapid 47 or Rapid Response 47 says local Democrat politicians in Pennsylvania are instructing people to stand in front and block ICE from deporting criminal illegals.
We need to be out here with the community, marching in the streets and saying that we will not abide this. We need to use our authority and our position to stand in front and block ICE from taking neighbors whenever possible. We need to.
Yeah. Wonder if you're legal. Yeah. How about that? Yeah. Breaking news. Antifa just claimed responsibility for firebombing multiple NYPD police vehicles last night. Time is officially labeled them as a terror organization, or time to officially. I'm sorry. Antifa Anarchist blog has posted a claim of responsibility for a large arson attack that destroyed multiple NYPD news vehicles in Brooklyn. The post urges others to carry out more attacks. Read. Yep. They claim the responsibility for it, so they should pay for it. Yeah. All right. What have I been saying? Disengage. Anyone calling for MAGA to counter protest should be disregarded. Your presence will do no good. Let law enforcement and the military handle it. Trust the plan. You elected us to do the heavy lifting. Enjoy the show. Birth of a New Nation, New World. All right. And this is the one I'm going to end with. Pay very close attention, guys. Pay very close attention. This is how you succeed.
The procedure went great. Extraction went great. You just cannot open your mouth or talk for the next hour. Maybe 2 hours. You can't talk or open your mouth for up to 5 hours. No talking, no nothing open. For the next 24 hours, no talking. And you can never talk. No more talking. Just no more talking at all ever again. And you'll be fine. You'll be fine. The procedure went.
That's how you do it, guys. That's how you do it. Oh, I couldn't resist. What can I say? Look at them guys. Look at them. That little guy right there, he's got a name. Yep. Auntie named him this morning. His name is Thor. 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 He was a good guy. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. So that's going to be it for me today. It's about 3 hours of stuff and stuff. And I'll be back with you tomorrow. Spread the word. We'll be on 28 for the next, probably for the next week. I don't know what's going on with 27. I have no access to it. I mean, I can get into it, but I can't go live on it. YouTube is blocking me from being able to do so. So that tells me that YouTube has begun their next phase of censorship. But we're going to keep going. Fuck YouTube. That's what I say. Fuck YouTube. I got no patience for them, frankly. But this is where we're all at, and this is where we all go. I would like to say that with everything coming up this weekend, I stated earlier this week that I am definitely not prepared for it. I did get food. Thank you, Miss Mindersu. I was able to get food with that, and I've got enough here for about 7 days, which is great. However, I definitely do not have enough fuel to get me through. So those of you that donated today, I thank you for that. Could definitely use a little bit more in order to make sure that I can stock up on gas, because if they're going to take everything down, I want to make sure that I'm ready in all capacity. I've got what I need for the big dogs for about 5 days, and for the little dogs for an additional or for another 5 days. So I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good where that is. Not that I couldn't use with stocking up a little bit. So any donations that you can afford to do would be appreciated very much. Other than that, remember that our Creator loves you, Jesus loves you, and I love you. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Okay. I will be covering the event tomorrow in Washington, and things that are going that are going on, with the protests and such. But I definitely want to make sure we have the parade on, and any news we'll work on Raphael for you, Linda, in the future. The other one's a female, so we can't name her Raphael. We could name her Rachel, though. That we could do. And the other one's already been named Thor. I promised Auntie that I would do that, and I'm going to keep my word on that. So with that, again, remember, I love you guys much. I really do. This has been a very long journey for us. It has, for some of us, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, some of you only a few years, but I played them earlier. So, just remember that, that you're not alone. You're not, remember to keep praying. Okay. Your communication with your creator above all things, your communication with your creator is the most important, and the most significant and the most life-changing and the most soul-saving. Yeah. Peace.
I am Ingersoll Lockwood, and this Friday is June 14, 1946, which marks a new beginning for the most important seed being planted in a great awakening. Protected, insulated, watered, and with enough sunlight and God's grace, it shall flourish and bloom, and humanity once again will be saved.
Happy birthday, DJT. Thanks for teaching me how to play the game in 5D. X says hi. Now back to Looking Glass music, and down the rabbit hole we go.
Trumpets blare, golden tune, a peaceful wish for a sunny June. On this fine day, let's tip our hats to history's rhythm and proud stats. 250 years the Army stands, defending freedom across the lands. Through trials faced, through battles won, their legacy shines beneath the sun. Raise the flag, let the band play loud, lift your hearts, America proud. June 14th, a day to embrace with harmony and a warm embrace. From 45 to 47's past, a birthday cheer made the joy last. 79 years of wisdom true, a toast to time as we bid adieu. Swing the beat, let the joy unfold. Stories of valor, both new and old. A great awakening, the spirit soar. A brighter future we all adore. So dance to the ragtime, let spirit sing. Celebrate the hope this day will bring. For a land united through love and grace, America shines in every space.
I got to come back in for a second. I'm allergic. That's why I can't do anything with it. I can't touch it. It will, I get stung by one of those. You won't have a host anymore. You'll have to make a new one. Yep. And secret safety meeting. See ya. Bye.